If you were to fly over the Amazon right now, you would see nothing but trees below you. A sea of green stretching for thousands of kilometers. A forest that has been called the last great wilderness on Earth. But what if I told you that hidden beneath those trees were cities that were larger than many medieval cities in Europe? What if I told you that there were roads that ran straight for kilometers, engineering that controlled the entire water system, and agricultural technologies that modern science still doesn't fully understand? And what if I told you that all of this was hidden from the eyes of the world for more than 1,000 years? So the question is, do we really know history? Or do we only know the part of history that is still visible above ground? Because in the last few years, there have been discoveries that have completely changed people's perception of the Amazon. Cities have been found that were never mentioned in any book. Geometric designs have been found that can only be understood from the sky. Artificial soil has been found that is still fertile after thousands of years. And the strangest thing is, some people's blood has been found to contain a genetic signal that shows a connection to people on the other side of the world. How? Why? And the most important question, where did all this go? Today we will delve into 7 mysteries of the Amazon. Each mystery is more incredible than the previous one. And the last discovery will raise a question that even scientists do not yet have an answer to. Before starting the video, I would like to know one thing. From which country in the world are you watching this video? Just write the name of your country in the comments. And if unknown chapters of history, lost civilizations, and real mysteries interest you, then subscribe now. Because today's journey begins deep in the world's largest forest, where another lost chapter of history may be buried under every tree. The Amazon, covering more than 5.5 million square kilometers. This region is the largest rainforest in the world. It is home to about 10% of the world's total biodiversity. New animals, new plants, and new biological wonders are discovered every year. But for a long time, researchers thought that this jungle was not suitable for building a large human civilization. Because farming here is difficult. The soil loses fertility quickly, and the dense forest made it almost impossible to sustain a large population. For decades, this idea was part of the history books. But then, technology began to change. And that technology is called LIDAR, a special laser scanning system that can create a map of the terrain below through gaps in the treetops. And when this technology was first used on parts of the Amazon, then the researchers saw something that no one had ever imagined. Because there was no primitive forest under the tree. Under the tree were man-made geometric designs, circles, squares, right angles, long straight lines, and structures that nature could never create on its own. That was the first clue. The story of the Amazon that we have heard so far may not be the whole story. For a long time, researchers believed that the Amazon was originally inhabited by small tribes. They hunted, fished, built temporary settlements, and lived in harmony with nature. This idea was so established that many textbooks presented the Amazon as a vast but uncivilized region. But the problem is, one of the biggest mistakes in history often starts with a small assumption. And that's exactly what happened in the case of the Amazon, because no one ever imagined that something could be hidden under the densest forest in the world, which would elude human eyes for centuries. Beneath the treetops lay a world we had no idea existed, and a technology called LIDAR had awakened that sleeping world. As the plane flew over Brazil, its instruments sent thousands of laser beams downward every second. These beams would hit the ground through the trees and bounce back. The computer then used that information to create a three-dimensional map of the forest floor. At first, the researchers didn't expect much. They thought they might find some natural ridges, some old riverbeds, or a few simple structures. But when the first maps appeared on the screen, they realized they were looking at something nature could never have created. Beneath the dense forest, perfect circles appeared. Long, straight lines appeared. Huge squares and geometric patterns appeared, each corner of which was crafted with incredible precision. These were not natural formations. They were man-made. And not just one, not two, but hundreds. The more the researchers scanned the area, the more new structures were discovered. Some of the structures were hundreds of meters in diameter. Some were connected to each other by long paths. And here comes the first big question. Why did the people who built them build them? Because these structures had a strange feature. Standing on the ground, you cannot understand their true form. Standing in the middle of a huge circle, you will not understand that you are part of a perfect geometric design. To understand the whole design, you have to climb very high, to a height where there was no way for people of that time to reach. So why did they build something whose beauty they could never fully see for themselves? The answer to this question is still not fully known. Some researchers believe that these were places used for religious ceremonies or sky observation. Others believe that they were social and political boundary markers. But whatever the explanation, one thing is clear. Those who built them were not a small, isolated group. To complete such a large project requires organization, labor, planning, and most of all, long-term thinking. In other words, here was a society that worked for the future. And this is where the mystery deepens, because these geoglyphs were just the beginning. When researchers began to delve deeper, they realized that there was more than just a design hidden beneath the jungle, something that could force the history books to be rewritten. A study published in early 2024 caused a stir. During a LiDAR survey conducted in the Upana Valley of eastern Ecuador, researchers discovered a network of settlements that had been hidden behind trees for thousands of years. At first, it was thought to be an ordinary village, but detailed analysis showed that it was no ordinary village at all. It was a planned urban system, a complex urban network consisting of wide streets, central plazas, elevated platforms, and multiple connected settlements. Some of the roads were 10 to 20 meters wide. They connected one settlement to another in a straight line. Building such a long and straight road in the jungle is no ordinary task. It requires a huge amount of labor and coordination. And when the time period of these cities was determined, an even bigger surprise awaited. Many of these were built at a time when the Roman Empire was at the height of its power on the other side of the world. That is, while Europe was expanding its empire, building huge structures, and developing advanced administrative structures, another complex society was developing deep in the Amazon. The only difference is that the ruins of Rome are still visible today, but the cities of the Amazon were slowly swallowed up by nature. And the most incredible thing is that this discovery is probably just the beginning. Because as the LiDAR scan progresses, new structures come to light. Each new map is forcing researchers to reconsider old ideas. It is gradually becoming clear that the Amazon may not have been a marginal region. Rather, it was home to a complex civilization based on a large population, advanced technology, and long-term planning. But one problem remains. Building a city is one thing, and providing food for thousands of people in that city is another. Because as fertile as the Amazon soil may seem, in reality, much of it is difficult to cultivate. So the question is, how did this huge population feed themselves? And the answer to this question will lead us to one of the most amazing mysteries of the Amazon. But this is where the whole thing gets even stranger. Because discovering a city is one thing, and providing food for millions of people in that city is a completely different matter. And this is where the Amazon presents a mystery that is more surprising to many researchers than the establishment itself. Because it may be possible to accept the existence of cities hidden under the world's largest rainforest, but explaining how those cities could have survived for hundreds of years is much more difficult. The question is very simple. If so many people lived here, where would they have gotten their food? Because as fertile as the Amazon jungle looks from the outside, in reality it is very problematic for agriculture. Plants grow quickly, but the ability to retain nutrients deep in the soil in the long term is very poor. If you cut down the forest and start farming, you get a good harvest for the first few years, but within a short time, the land becomes weak. Modern farmers also face this problem. So how did people feed such a huge population thousands of years ago? While searching for an answer to this question, researchers encountered something that at first seemed almost unbelievable. There are layers of strange black soil scattered throughout different regions of the Amazon. Local farmers had recognized them for generations. They knew that crops grew much better in this soil than anywhere else. Even in droughts, the soil retained moisture. Even without fertilizer, yields did not decrease year after year. But the question was, why? When scientists collected samples and began testing them, they found that this was not normal soil. It contained fine particles of charcoal, burnt bones, organic matter, and other elements that indicated that it had been deliberately created over a long period of time. That is, someone not only cultivated the land thousands of years ago, but also changed the soil. And this change was so effective that its effects are still felt 2,000 years later. Think about it. In the modern world, we measure technology by computers, rockets, or artificial intelligence. But what if a civilization's greatest technology is hidden deep in the soil? What if their greatest invention is not a building, but an agricultural system that still works after thousands of years? This is where the mystery of terra preta, or black soil, begins. By analyzing the structure of this soil in the laboratory, scientists can understand that it is not only fertile, but also a kind of living system. The microorganisms, bacteria, and organic matter in it work in such a way that the soil itself can maintain its own balance. It is like a small ecosystem that has sustained itself for centuries. But the biggest question is, how did those who created it know how much of which ingredient to mix? How did they create a system whose effectiveness is so long-lasting? And this is where the whole story gets deeper. Because terra preta is not a single invention. It indicates a society that not only used the environment, but also controlled it. They knew how to improve the soil, how to increase food production, how to increase the carrying capacity of an area and support a large population. In other words, the deeper we go, the clearer it becomes that our understanding of the ancient peoples of the Amazon was incomplete. But the mystery does not end there, because if they only knew agriculture, that would be amazing. But subsequent discoveries show that they did not just change the soil, they changed the entire landscape. River flows, reservoirs, elevated platforms, artificial islands. Everything was arranged in such a way that it was as if nature had been redesigned. And when researchers began to see the engineering system hidden under the vast plains of Bolivia, they realized that the mystery was actually bigger than the city. Because here is not just the story of a civilization, but the story of a world that has never been fully written in the history books. And from there begins the next chapter. The story of a plain that is submerged for a large part of the year. A land where it is difficult to imagine large-scale agriculture without modern technology. But thousands of years ago, people not only lived there, but also created a water system that still amazes researchers today. But if you think the mystery of terra preta is the most amazing discovery in the Amazon, then get ready. Because we are now going to a place where people have not only changed the soil, not just built cities, but also redesigned the entire landscape. The question is very simple. If a region is completely submerged for several months of the year, is it possible to build a lasting civilization there? Most people would say no. Because when water swallows everything, farming becomes difficult, settlement becomes difficult, and it becomes even more difficult to sustain a large population in the long term. But history has shown time and again that it is dangerous to underestimate people. And the vast plains of Bolivia are a reminder of that. The area that we know today as Llanos de Mojos is so large in size that it can be compared to many European countries. During the rainy season, a large part of it goes underwater. From a distance, it looks like a temporary inland sea has formed. But when modern technology begins to observe this terrain, something that at first seemed almost unbelievable comes to light. Hidden under the water, under the grass, and centuries below the surface, was a vast network of man-made engineering. Thousands of high platforms, long dams, canals, water control systems, artificially elevated residential areas. And all this was connected together as if someone had created a grand plan for the entire region. The question is, why? Because this is not the work of one village. It is not the work of one generation. It is a project that has hundreds of years of labor, knowledge, and organization behind it. Think about it. In front of you is a plain. Every year floods come. Water covers everything. Ordinary people might have left this area. But here, people made a different decision. They didn't fight nature. Instead, they made nature part of their plan. They built high islands. They cut canals. They changed the course of the water. They built special structures for fishing, and gradually created a system that could provide food and security for thousands of people. The most amazing thing is that these works were done at a time when modern machinery, let alone metal technology, was limited. There were no bulldozers. There were no engines. There were no heavy machines. There were only people, soil, and time. Yet the result is such that even today, without the use of satellite images and LiDAR scans, the full extent of the structure cannot be understood. This is where the whole story becomes even more mysterious, because we start to see the same patterns over and over again. First geoglyphs, then lost cities, then terra preta. Now, hydraulic engineering. Each new discovery says the same thing. The ancient societies of the Amazon were much more organized, much more efficient, and perhaps even more populous than we thought. But here, a new question arises. If these civilizations were so successful, where did they go? Why were such vast systems abandoned? Why were the canals filled in? Why were the platforms lost under the jungle? Because no civilization disappears overnight, especially one that had the power to change nature over thousands of kilometers. And while searching for the answer to this question, researchers are faced with another mystery, a name that has captured the imagination of explorers for many years. The story of a lost city, a legend that many dismissed as a madman's dream. But it later turned out that maybe that dream wasn't entirely wrong. At the beginning of the 20th century, a British explorer repeatedly entered the depths of the Amazon. His name was Percy Fawcett. He believed that a lost city was hidden somewhere in the jungle, a city that was mentioned in old documents, but whose location was unknown. Many contemporaries considered him a dreamer. Some would say he was wasting his life chasing a legend. But Fawcett did not stop. In 1925, he entered the depths of the Amazon for the last time. He was accompanied by his son and a friend. Then they disappeared. No definitive answer was found. Did they die? Did they get lost? Or did something else happen? This question is still part of the mysteries of history. But what is even more strange is that modern research, may have found some real basis for the city that Fawcett was looking for. Because when the Xingu region was mapped using LiDAR technology, a vast settlement network, connected roads, defensive structures, and a planned urban system were seen. Something that would have seemed impossible even a few decades ago. So was Fawcett wrong? Was he really looking for something that existed? Or was this just another coincidence? The answer to this question is as important as another, because at the same time, researchers found something in human blood that takes the whole mystery in a new direction. A genetic signal that suggests that the history of the Amazon may not be just the history of South America. It may also be intertwined with the stories of people from the other side of the world. And that's where our next, and perhaps most uncomfortable mystery begins. But this is where the whole story takes a turn for the most uncomfortable. Because what we've seen so far isn't just stories of lost cities, strange structures, or amazing engineering. They're all different pieces of the same puzzle. And when you start to put those pieces together, a picture emerges that challenges our most familiar ideas about history. Because if there really were huge cities deep in the Amazon, if thousands of years ago people created soil that is still fertile today, if they reshaped rivers, canals, and the entire landscape, then the question is no longer just, what did they build? The question is, why do we know so little about them? And in the search for the answer to this question, scientists are faced with another mystery hidden in human blood. When modern geneticists began analyzing the DNA of various indigenous peoples of the Amazon, they found a signal that surprised even them at first, because some of the genetic characteristics did not match perfectly with the known ancestors of South America. Instead, in some cases, they were found to be similar to populations living on the other side of the world, in regions that were thousands of kilometers away. Now, here's where it's important to make one thing clear. This doesn't mean that anyone knows for sure what happened. Science is still searching for answers. But the question remains, was the world much more connected than we thought thousands of years ago? Is it possible that we still don't know the full story of ancient human migration? Is it possible that the ocean, which we see as an obstacle, once served as a bridge for humans? And this is where the whole thing gets even stranger, because the deeper we go, the more we see the same pattern. Geoglyphs, lost cities, terra preta, hydraulic systems, mysterious genetic signals. None of these would have surprised the world on their own. But when seen together, it seems that we are looking at a layer of history that is still largely buried underground, under the jungle, or hidden by time. But the most important question still remains. If these civilizations were so advanced, where did they go? Because throughout history, empires have collapsed. Wars have occurred, fires have broken out, cities have collapsed. But in many parts of the Amazon, we see something different. In many places, people seem to have gradually disappeared. Some settlements have been abandoned. Some canals have stopped being maintained. Some cities have surrendered to the jungle. It is as if, at some point, the whole system has stopped. Why? One possibility is disease. Some historians believe that after the arrival of the Europeans, disease spread at such a speed that it wiped out many populations. And if large settlements were suddenly deserted, the jungle could cover everything again within a few decades. Another possibility is climate change, drought, river changes, long-term environmental stress. Because the larger a society, the more fragile its balance becomes. For a large system to survive, its relationship with nature must also be stable. But the truth is, we don't know all the answers yet. And perhaps this is where the most important lesson of this story lies. We often think of history as something that has already been written. as if the answers to every question of the past are in some book. But the reality is completely different. Many of the world's greatest mysteries are still unanswered. And the interesting thing is, those answers may still be hidden under our feet. Maybe a new LiDAR scan is going on somewhere in the Amazon right now. Maybe a researcher is looking at a new map. Maybe the outline of a city that the world doesn't yet know about is floating on a computer screen right now. Maybe in the next few years, something will be discovered that will force us to rewrite the history books again. And that's the most amazing part of this story. We haven't completely lost the past. We just haven't found everything yet. Because there are still roads under the jungle. There are settlements under the roads. There are stories of people under the settlements. And many of those stories have yet to be told. This is why history is never truly dead. Because the past still speaks to us. Sometimes through broken pottery. Sometimes through walls buried under the jungle. Sometimes through soil that still produces crops after 2,000 years. And sometimes through a signal hidden within human DNA that reminds us we may not know the whole story yet. So now the question is for you. Which of today's 7 mysteries surprised you the most? Lost cities? Terra Preta? Hydropower systems? Or that mysterious genetic code? Just write the name of that mystery in the comments, and write from which country you are watching this video. I really want to see from which corners of the world people are still searching for answers to these unsolved questions of history. And if you love mysteries where reality sometimes beats fiction, then subscribe to the channel. Because ahead, we will enter all the places where the biggest questions of history are still seeking answers. And believe me, the next story may be even more uncomfortable than today's story, because the older the world, the deeper its mysteries. And our journey is not over yet.